Hey everybody, this
Hey.
is Megan.
Hey, it's Dr. Scott.
I just wanted to create this video with you today because I had a lovely conversation with somebody at my son's school this morning, and it really resonated with me that there needs to be more education about when you have back pain or you have a condition going on and you refer to drugs and surgery before chiropractic. So little background here. So the person that I was talking to works with kids, little kids, picks them up all the time. She says that she has a bad back. And so I asked her this morning, I said, so how's everything going? I just wanted to check in with you. I haven't seen you in quite some time. And she says, oh, everything's getting a little bit better. I'm taking all this medication, and I'm going to meet with my doctor in 3 weeks. He couldn't get me in sooner. So we're going to talk about surgery. And I sat there, and I'm like, well, first of all, she must not know what I do. So I kind of wanted to educate. And so I said, so why haven't you seen a chiropractor? Kind of what's going on? And she said, oh, I don't want to see a chiropractor. They're really expensive. I don't think my insurance will cover it. And my doctor wouldn't give me a referral anyways. He thinks that a chiropractor won't be able to help me. I said, okay, well, what exactly is going on? She said, he thinks it's a bulging disc. Okay, so you're going to be taking all this medication and you're planning a surgery and you're not going to get another opinion? And she's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think chiropractic can help me. So I just wanted to kind of share some information with you because again, I had a long ride ahead of me and I wanted to, I was kind of pondering the whole situation and how I wanted to approach it because obviously she doesn't know what I do and she doesn't understand the difference between drugs and surgery and chiropractic. So let's take a look a little bit about the two options that she has for her. Okay, so we've got drugs and surgery. We'll start with that. This is a big hot topic, okay? I don't know if everybody can see the board.
And this might be reversed for you guys, so I apologize if it is.
Right, so I'll go through everything with you. Okay, so you've got drugs and surgery. So you're taking medication for back pain, right? Okay, so is taking ibuprofen and taking all of these medications that are usually in the same class as cocaine, correct? Is it going to fix your back pain? No, it's going to mask your symptoms.
Well, and another thing to think about, guys, in case you don't know this, is that ibuprofen, NSAIDs, so they have been proven to be the single biggest contributing factor to increase in fatalities like dying from cardiovascular events in the last 30 years, right? Mm-hmm. Advil, Celebrex, you guys have heard this stuff in the news, but it's the thing that's most commonly used and most commonly prescribed to go and deal with the inflammation from back pain. So, you know what's funny is when you look at a lot of this stuff, how often it's given, and you look at like the incidence of cardiovascular events over the last 30 years, the introduction of Advil showed a massive increase in the amount of cardiovascular events that correlated with the timing of the release of Advil. Just something to ponder here.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead, Megan.
So just on that topic, so yes, I want to get rid of my back pain, but I also want to give myself a heart attack. That sounds like a really good option. So you're adding toxins to your body that aren't going to fix the problem, that might create other symptoms and other problems. So why are you even taking it? Yes, pain relief, that's a good thing, but you can get that with chiropractic too, and most of the time instantly. So, okay, so one, you're adding toxins to your body that are unnecessary. You're not allowing your body to do what it's meant to do. Second thing, so her biggest complaint was that chiropractic is expensive and that her insurance company wouldn't cover it. Well, we accept 2 insurance companies, and although they don't usually cover a full chiropractic treatment unless you have really great benefits, insurance is for sick care. And so with chiropractic, where it's preventative medicine, they don't usually allow coverage. But most of the time, because of all of the high deductible plans that you have, chiropractic is actually usually a more affordable plan and way to go than surgery and for medication. So
let me interject there.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you who aren't aware, when you start talking about back surgery, actual cost of a back surgery, that procedure will cost you a bare minimum total of $150,000 for a back surgery, in case you don't know. Mm-hmm. So average care for a chiropractic treatment plan on a high side, $3,000, give or take.
Right.
So
and that's for months of treatment.
Right, for months of treatment,
right.
which helps you to avoid surgery, which helps you to avoid having to go down the road of having the more aggressive, more invasive procedures, right? So when you compare cost, chiropractic in every study that's ever been done historically, period, is significantly more cost effective without the negative side effects or the risks that are involved with having procedures like surgeries done. And that actually leads into what she was going to say next.
Right. So you think of how much you're paying for your premiums. If you have a high deductible, if you are paying for all this medication that's unnecessary that usually leads to more medication, which I'll skip down, your medication in the back pain is going to lead to more pain, more symptoms, other problems that are going to arise, which then leads to more medication, more surgeries, more doctor's visits. That's a lot of money, not just the surgery itself, but everything surrounding that. And then you think of how much time off you have of work.
And let me interject there, because what Megan said there was a good point, right? So when you start talking about having to go down the route of actually introducing pain meds, okay? So just heard some really interesting numbers the other day from some folks who were talking about the opioid addiction here, right? And so in the state of California, California leads the nation in deaths from heroin, right? And so heroin tends to be the next step up from people that start with opioid drugs, right? So then you start talking about number 2, okay? Hey, Ohioans, guess what? It's us. We have the second highest death rate in the entire country, Little Ohio, by heroin. Do you know why most people make the transition from opioids into heroin? Because they start with pain. And most people get on that road because there was failure from interventions for dealing with things that are musculoskeletal pain. Well, guess what that means? Back pain. That's the primary portal of entry for people coming into this whole pathway of pain management that leads to these super addictive, super dangerous drugs that lead then into eventually more aggressive drugs, because you know what ends up happening is the opioid meds become less effective, but they also become more expensive than people buying heroin on the streets. Well, you know what the crazy thing is that chiropractic as an intervention actually fixes the issue, gets people off of pain meds like crazy. I mean, Governor Kasich just went to the trouble of creating a committee, right, of interprofessional people to go and develop a way to try and get people out of pain meds because it's such an epidemic in the state of Ohio. Well, for those of you who don't know, so if you ever want to go and take a look for this for yourself, right? So there was a new guideline that was just released last year, 2016, for prescription, or excuse me, for recommendations for opioid reduction. You know what the number one intervention they recommended? Chiropractic. Why? Highest effective rate, directly treats the primary issues, and guess what? It has the highest success rate of any intervention when it relates to the spine, right? And so it's not just us saying this. Heck, go to Consumer Reports. Do you know for like the last 10 years running, chiropractic has had by a long shot the highest satisfaction rate of any type of an intervention for neck and back pain. Right? I mean, and we're not talking a little difference. We're talking like medical intervention versus chiropractic intervention. Our consumer rating is on average 50% higher satisfaction than medical intervention. Okay? That tells you something. When people who are consumers, because you guys are all consumers of care, right? So when you as a consumer says, I had a better result than what I was receiving from a medical intervention, this is what's recorded. And it says that your satisfaction is highest with chiropractic as your intervention of choice. Okay, come on back.
Yeah. So again, so you think of how much time you're out of work, the period of time it takes to recover from surgery, go through the surgery process, take all of this medication. That's a lot of time. If you put that together and take a look at a treatment plan for chiropractic, most of the time people get relief within their first adjustment. And then they are on a treatment plan for like a month, maybe 2 months, maybe longer than that, if need be, if the condition is that serious. But you think about how much time you're taking off for surgeries and recovering time. You come in for a chiropractic adjustment, it's 15 minutes, and then you're out the door. You honestly, you keep your regular schedule, you keep your regular routine of events throughout the day, and then you add a chiropractic adjustment, pain-free, less invasive. There's no cutting, there's no hurting, there's no bad medicine or anything that we prescribe to you. It is you come in, we do our work, our magic, and then you get out the door and you enjoy your day. Honestly, the options, I would pick chiropractic any day.
Well, you know what? I think honestly it's a simple choice, right? Because when you're talking about what we actually do, right, we're dealing with the most sensitive structures in the entire body, right? And so the reason we titled this "Once You Cut, You Can't Uncut," because if you look at it, right, when you're dealing with the spine and spinal cord, okay, so surgical interventions have the highest fail rate of any surgical procedure, any procedure in healthcare, 75 to 90%. This is per the American Academy of Orthopedics. This is what they say, because it is such a high fail surgery within 5 years, right?
Which, because it's such a high fail surgery, there's even a code to bill stating that they had a failure during that surgery.
Yeah, it's called failed back surgery syndrome. For those of you who aren't aware, you can actually go and look it up. And it's because there is such a high fail rate in back surgery. So when you look at the way that you have your spine, right? You got one, right? You start cutting on it, right? It leads to more and more and more interventions because they fail so often. Because if you look at it, folks, it doesn't fix the issue, right? Your spine is made up of a bunch of mobile segments, right? I mean, every single part of your spine is intended to move. Every time you take and you cut and you change the mechanics of the spine, you lead to another kind of issue with the movement mechanics of the spine, which leads to more and more problems. So what a chiropractic adjustment does, for those of you who aren't aware, is it puts motion into the spine and gets rid of misalignment. Well, you know what those in most cases are? The primary problems why you have pain. Okay? So you can have some disc issues. Yeah, we can fix that. So you can have problems where the joints are misaligned and they stop moving. That's what causes the vast majority of the pain. You put motion in through an adjustment, and guess what happens? You start to feel better. Because motion is what tells your brain that things are okay and it can start to heal. There's these little cool things on the spine called proprioceptors. As soon as they start giving feedback to the brain that the spine is put in motion, which is exactly what an adjustment does, all of a sudden your brain's like, oh, I can heal now. And so it starts turning off the fire, right? And it starts telling the inflammation to calm down, and the body starts to actually do what it needs to do, which is heal. Isn't that cool?
The body actually knows to do that. I mean, if you get a cut on your finger, you put a Band-Aid on it, but you don't tell it to heal. It just does it on its own. It's the same thing when you get a chiropractic adjustment and you have pain. The body knows what to do. We just allow it to learn and be able to do it.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Power that made the body literally heals the body, right? And so if you're not familiar with this concept, think about it, right? What Megan said is totally the truth. Because you've never had to go and think about healing a cut or telling your immune system to go after a cold. Your body is a self-healing machine, right? Our job is just to go and help your body to get into that place so that you can get out of pain, get back to better function. And you know what's the cool thing about chiropractic versus having other interventions is that we improve the function of your nervous system. When we do an adjustment, okay, so you walk out of here not just feeling better pain-wise, but you feel and function better because we're improving the communication between your brain and your body. And that's like the single most important thing you can do, because if you're not healing well, if your nervous system isn't functioning well, you can't be well, right? And so when you get into a position where your body's been living with pain, you've had multiple flare-ups with your spine, so there's this whole cascade of events that fires up your fight or flight system. And so when you're stuck in fight or flight, your immune system's depressed, you feel more anxious, you have more issues with stress, anxiety. We have all kinds of issues with, not being able to sleep at night because our brain's being bombarded constantly by the stimulus that comes from the spine that's telling us, boy, things just aren't right. And the second you start getting adjusted, you know what starts to happen? You begin to heal. Your body starts coming back out of fight or flight into what's called parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, growth, development, and healing, okay? And interesting thing is, folks, there's this Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's just this amazing PhD, one of the brightest men around. He said, you can't be in protection and growth and development at the same time. And it's totally true. When your spine isn't moving, you're stuck in fight or flight, right? And so when you're stuck in fight or flight, you can't heal properly. Your body's always, always, always going downhill. You can't achieve optimal health when the spine isn't healthy.
Right.
All right, guys. So I hope this was helpful. So I hope this gave you some insight for those of you who are struggling with these issues. I'll tell you, I am a chiropractic miracle myself. I was one of those people who hurt my back lifting when I was 19 years old and dumb as could be. I put as much weight in my body as I possibly could. I abused my body. I hurt myself. I popped 3 discs. I was a mess. I had full sciatica for a very long time. For those of you who don't know my story, you do. I suffered for 7 extremely long years. I had injections in my back. I had PT. I had all kinds of different things done. I was hospitalized, taken to the ER, by ambulance. I was in a bad way. And the interesting thing is that when I went to a chiropractor, my chiropractor was the first person who actually dug in and told me why I was having the issues that I was. And what ended up happening is he took x-rays and he did a physical exam and he did scans of my spine, my nervous system, and said, this is what's going on. These are issues that you're having, which I didn't tell him about. I thought, how the hell do you know this stuff, right? But it was amazing because he knew things about my body that I didn't know because he understood the way that my nervous system was supposed to work and what was actually happening. And then when I started getting adjusted, I had all these positive side effects, right? So like, for example, the pain that I was having, which was pretty horrific, started to go away. Then my numb leg, which had been numb for 7 years, started to return. Oh, and by the way, about a year into care, I came off of all of my allergy meds because my immune system, which is controlled by my nervous system, healed, and all of a sudden I wasn't having allergy issues anymore. You know, headaches that I've been having frequently were going away, right? Megan's the same way. She's had tons of health improvements. She became a patient. What about you, Megan?
So for me, I never realized that I had such bad anxiety until I received chiropractic care, and the way that I am able to be, function as a mom, deal with other stresses. As soon as I get adjustment, I'm a totally new person. I had really, really bad sciatica pain due to me also being originally a personal trainer and working out constantly. I was doing things wrong. My spine was not in correct alignment, and so I hurt myself really bad. And then throughout my pregnancy, I actually, at the end of my pregnancy, wasn't even able to walk. And so after having my son and going through chiropractic care, I am getting back into yoga, getting back into working out, completely pain-free. My stress levels are way, way down. I'm just able to have a better life and better mentality all around. I could tell you all sorts of stories about my husband with his asthma and his allergies and his anxiety, him being on anxiety medication, which he's off of completely now. He is a college basketball referee, so he always had stacks of emergency inhalers, being such a bad asthmatic. Now he hasn't even filled a prescription for an inhaler in over a year, probably, after having chiropractic care. My son, who had chronic ear infections, tons and tons of health issues, could have definitely been a sensory kid just from the developments and the hiccups in his milestones that we had seen as a baby. Now speech is just unparalleled to a lot of the kids in his class. Not an ear infection since his immune system is rock solid. Every time his kids are sick in his class, he's the only one that either gets it for a day or doesn't even get it at all. I mean, he is just a totally different kid as well. So we are chiro for life. I quote that all the time. Our lives are completely different because of chiropractic.
Amen. Oh, and I guess that's our cue to be done. All right, guys.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Be elite.
Bye.